Hello and welcome to the first unit of our second week in the course Avoid SAP S4HANA project delays with the third-party system service virtualization. My name is Mateusz Nowak, and in this unit I will show you how to approach service virtualization in different SAP S4HANA migration projects. Although benefits of using service virtualization in the S4 migration projects are very similar, the projects themselves vary significantly. Let's have a quick glance at each implementation style. SAP S4HANA Greenfield implementation is a brand new implementation of the SAP S4HANA. All the configurations and customizations need to be done from scratch. The whole system and all business processes and configurations, of course, need to be created. Greenfield allows you to design the system to best serve your needs. Greenfield S4 implementation is also used when the company migrates from the legacy applications to their very first SAP system. SAP S4HANA Brownfield implementation is a technical upgrade and the conversion of the existing system with its historical data and existing customizations. In the Brownfield implementation, the entire existing SAP ECC is moved to the SAP S4HANA with the used and unused objects. SAP S4HANA Bluefield implementation is the combination of the Greenfield and the Brownfield approach. It allows the business to select which aspects of the system should be kept as is, redesigned or cleaned while moving to the new system. What does it mean to Sarah, our senior IT manager, in terms of the service virtualization? Actually, nothing. She can focus with her team on choosing the right approach that fits her organization, and regardless of the migration approach, INT4Suite can support her in all of them in a very similar way. Now you can ask, what on earth are you talking about? Let me explain. After the first week, Sarah is already aware that it's beneficial to use the SAP tailored service virtualization, where she and her team can use the existing messages from the third-party applications and legacy systems with whom they have been already working. In all the SAP S4HANA migration, most of the source systems and the third-party applications are already live for some time. They are stable, send and exchange some messages with the productive environments. That is why in the first stage of the migration project, Sarah, the senior IT manager, and her team don't need to do the end-to-end testing, including what is happening on the EDI partner side, because those solutions are already mature, and what is the subject to change and test, of course, is the SAP environment. Thanks to the virtualization of the B2B partners and the external applications, Sarah can focus on the stage where the B2B partners send the messages to her company's environment. Sarah approached Daphne for help to understand what are those existing messages that INT4Suite uses for EDI partners virtualization. Daphne is the SAP consultant from her team. I think you haven't met Daphne, so let me introduce her first. Daphne is a member of Sarah's team. She supports the company in a delivery role. She's a born consultant, functional today and a programmer tomorrow, whatever it takes to deliver the project. She has a good understanding of the business processes in her organization. If it's needed, she can even debug some code. Although she has a high-level understanding of the interfaces being used for the business processes, she doesn't know the details like the technology or the used adapters. Luckily for her, she doesn't need to know all those technical details to benefit from the SAP tailored service virtualization. Daphne just needs to know what interface and the B2B partners she wants to virtualize. This can be messages exchanged via SAP PIPO, SAP Cloud Integration, SAP Management, Boomi, or even web methods. What is important to highlight is that she doesn't need to know the monitoring capabilities of those integration platforms. She can just easily select the platform and the interfaces from the INT4Suite, as there is one common UI for different platforms and technologies. Okay, let's say that Daphne understands the whole process on how to store the existing messages, but when she was on the barbecue last weekend with her friend, who's also a SAP consultant but on a different customer, she was asked a tough question. How does it work in case there is totally fresh SAP S/4HANA box and there was no SAP ECC before? So the typical fresh SAP implementation project. Well, the answer is again simple. Maybe the SAP S/4HANA box will be a brand new first SAP box in the organization, but the external applications and the B2B partners already send some messages to the existing systems. Of course, it requires a little bit more effort because Daphne's friend would have to discuss with the partners if they can provide some persistent messages, for example by uploading them on the SharePoint, Google Drive or any other form. And once it's done, even for such messages it's possible to reuse them by importing XML, flat files or other message content. There is still one more thing that Daphne needs to consider. How does she actually use the service virtualization? It varies depending on the implementations and the use cases. For example, in the Greenfield implementation, INT4 Suite virtualization is used mostly during the manual testing conducted by Daphne and her team, where INT4 Suite virtualizes EDI partners, and once the messages arrived from the EDI partners to the S4 box, Daphne with her team can continue with the manual business process testing. Just to imagine the example, when Daphne wants to test whether she made a correct customization for the order type determination in the sales order posting, she can virtualize a B2B partner by repeating purchase order message and then check the process. What if something doesn't work and requires adjustments, or maybe Daphne wants to virtualize a different scenario? No problem at all. She can resend this message within a single click of a button as many times as she wants. This use case will be shown by Michał in the third unit of the second week. In the Bluefield and Brownfield implementation, in addition to supporting the manual testing, INT4 Suite can actually massively repeat messages and can automate the regression testing, and moreover, confirm that all the processes and interfaces in the S4 are working in the same way as they work in the old ECC. Of course, that was only a sneak peek, and you will see in next lessons of the second week how Daphne can address simulation and virtualization in different scenarios, based on the historical transactions, responses from the B2B partners and the external applications. Great! You have learned in these lessons that regardless of the SAP S4 migration type, service virtualization is very similar, because it's SAP tailored solution that is based on the existing messages exchanged with your B2B partners and external applications. Thank you for your time and see you in the next lesson, where I will be showing you how to save historical messages from the EDI partners that you can later use for the service virtualization and simulation. See you there!